Chappy GPT.
The Siri that we used to use, it's actually coming with some sort of intelligence. Re-evaluate or evaluate what the whole crypto thing is about.
But it's a good initiative in the positive direction. This shows government's willingness to basically understand crypto in Zimbabwe.
The hackers managed to get away with something like over 1 million.
Or basically, it's exploiting weaknesses in computer systems.
The number of times, 545 times.
Take on a WhatsApp group.
Yeah.
So I told Meta to basically summarize every message that was ever sent in the group.
Yeah.
And I gave it timelines and a date. And it refused. It said that it can't. It can't.
The USA Force and DAPA, like they were actually they trained. They have a jet that is running 4 artificial intelligence models, right?
Serious?
That can actually like engage in jet fights, all those kind of things. Where on the other side,
yeah, but
and there's a pile of other cars maybe coming from town, but still it will give precedence those two.
Yeah, but
now that. Welcome to Tech-Tonic, the podcast.
Welcome to Tech-Tonic, the podcast.
I think consistency is our thing now. Episode 4.
Yes.
Seems like we're serious about this. Anyway, for today, we're talking about AI. Are you ready, Kingsley?
Yeah, I'm very, very much ready. So it will be a high-level discussion into AI and basically like just some explanations and having a conversation about what AI is, what it does, what it has done, and basically what it will be capable of doing, and how it will affect our lives and Zimbabwe in general.
Yeah, and I think to start with, I want to know from you, like, what do you think is fascinating about AI? Is it the technology or the product that are built on top of the technology?
For me, AI in general, it's fascinating. It's fascinating how we're able to do this with code, with machines, with the increasing processing power that we currently have, and the things that we're able to do. It's quite impressive where we are now, and basically the things that we keep on being able to achieve with AI.
Yeah. So now I asked this question.
Yeah.
There is if you ask a layman right now, any general person,
Yes.
someone who is not much into tech, about the person understands about AI.
Yes.
You realize that the knowledge of the person is actually limited to ChatGPT and what it does.
Yes.
Like it seems like a number of people believes that AI started when ChatGPT was launched.
Yes, that's
actually
true.
I was listening to this other podcast today and actually realized even though the people who present the podcast thought the same. So there is AI, the technology, right?
Yes.
And there are products that are built on top of technology, right?
Yes.
So if you check the whole history of AI, it dates back long ago.
Yeah, long back.
Yeah, probably as far as 1950 or something, right?
Yes.
So with that, I think if you try to tell people where AI started, it will help some of the people who are not taking this as you are to understand the whole thing about AI.
Okay. So here I have a brief history of AI, right? As we know it, it comes from large language models, right? Basically, that's how we are building artificial intelligence as we know it.
Yeah.
So in 1966, there was an early natural language processing computer program,
Yeah.
right? So it was called ELIZA or ELIZA, I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was the first one that was built at MIT. And then in 2018, so this is a bit biased because it's just showing ChatGPT, but it's a generative pre-trained transformer model, right?
Yeah.
That was in 2018.
So we're talking about GPT, right?
Now
So in I think everyone should actually know that there is a difference between ChatGPT and GPT on itself.
Exactly.
Right. But anyway, before we do know that GPT thing, I think from my side, I actually believe like technology is good. It acts like a seed. Because if you check it AI, it was a seed that was planted within people, and people started working around solutions, trying to build things with the seed. But this, for me, from what the research that I did, it all dates back to the Turing test that was done. Yeah, if you remember.
Yeah, I remember.
So it was just it was just a test to see whether a computer, like a computer and a person, when they are given questions and they start answering,
Can you tell the
can you tell the difference between
the two?
Yeah. So that was when the seed was planted, right?
Yeah.
And things started improving. People started experimenting along with the idea.
Along those lines.
Up to today, when you are now talking about ChatGPT, but
GPTs.
Yeah, we are now talking about the GPTs, right?
Yeah, true.
But before we drill down more to be specific on the GPTs and the likes, I think there's one thing I also want to understand from you. Like, do you think there is AI outside of the GPTs?
Oh yes.
Like a physical AI that you can say, you can talk about or reference to, apart from the GPTs?
Yeah, there are numerous AIs that are available, but I think with marketing, it's just that the GPTs are more prevalent and they are more accessible to human beings.
Why do you think? Yeah,
that's why I'm saying it's marketing, because there are lower forms of AI, just like text prediction.
Yeah.
Text prediction on your phone, it's a lower form of AI, of machine learning.
Yeah.
That's that people use. If you look at your Microsoft Word, it has lower forms of AI. Like, basically that thing can see grammar, it can detect grammatical errors, it can basically suggest words and all of those things. So those lower forms of AI have been with us, but it's just that the marketing is not as strong, so that people are not aware that they're actually interacting with lower forms of AI. And when we're writing code in our IDEs, the IDEs have lower forms of AI that they use when they tell you that no, this class and whatever. So there's that arm of AI that's not as popular because it's not marketed as such. So your GPTs, right, the large language models, right, where people can interact with it using text prompts, these ones are quite popular because they were marketed quite a lot.
I beg to differ a little bit.
Okay.
Can you say that's marketing, or
I think
is it a matter of it being accessible? Like, if you look, some of the forms of AI, they are not as much accessible to general users.
Which forms are you talking about?
All right. Before we talk about the forms, I think there's something that also I want to know. Is AI all about natural language processing, like these GPTs?
No,
There is AI
there is
outside of that, right?
exactly. There is vision as well. There's computer vision. There's basically there are numerous forms. The others that recognize patterns, like numerous variants of AI that exist.
So
But-
looking at all those numerous forms of AI,
Mm.
are they accessible to the general user? Like, can just a
Ow.
person from the street can he just access those forms of AI?
So previously, from my experience, it was not the case. It was not the case.
Yeah.
They were used in highly specific scenarios, and they were not accessible to human beings. But then, ChatGPT, Gemini, and we have Meta AI now. So all of those AI models, and even Grok from X. So all of those models, they are easily accessible to people, and people can access them, interact with them, and basically do the shallow tasks that they're able to do.
Yeah, because for me, I think it might not. That's why I say it might not be the matter of marketing, but it's the matter of accessibility. Of like these chat GPTs, they're actually more accessible to people. Like the way they are used, that's natural language processing. Like they can be used in daily lives of people. Like they're easily accessible. But there are a lot of forms of other AIs that are there, and probably that have been developed before, but they were just not accessible to people, or people they don't. There are no ways of accessing them.
Yeah,
To
people
use them on their daily lives.
Yeah, that's true. So we have to take the conversation further then.
Yeah, then one thing that I also wanted to bring clarity. I don't know from you. Can you take robotics, the robotics field, right? Can you say it's AI?
Yeah, so I think the robotics industry, it basically applies a form of AI, a form of intelligence.
Yeah.
Right, that they apply to these robots to be able to do certain tasks. Obviously, we can say that these robots are trained on specific data.
Yeah.
Not the robots per se, but the software that they're running. It's trained on specific sets of data for them to be able to perform certain tasks. So we have highly mechanized, highly roboticized industries that employ these robots, basically. So. Yeah, I think they have AI that's running in them, but it just depends on the model and the level of intelligence, I would say, that's working in that particular robot.
Yeah. I think something that people need to know, AI is not limited to natural language processing.
Absolutely. Even there's facial recognition.
Yeah, there is AI there. Right?
Exactly, there's
So
facial
it can
recognition.
get from robotics, machine learning,
Yeah.
natural language processing, computer vision, all those things.
Yeah, computer vision. Even you remember from the last episode when we talked about the smart traffic system.
Yeah.
It will be employing forms of AI,
Yeah.
forms of artificial intelligence like computer vision, being
All those
able
things.
to recognize that this is a number plate, this is a car, this car is performing a violation. So
Yeah,
all of
yeah,
that,
yeah.
it's a form of AI, but it's applied in a specialized field. So
Yeah, I think that's one thing people should know. AI is not all about natural language processing.
exactly,
There are a lot of things to it.
there are a lot of
And
applications.
Yeah. So now coming back to the GPTs, when they were launched, of course, one thing that we need to agree, like the launch of all those GPTs, like was a game changer.
Yeah, true.
We agree,
True.
right?
Yeah, true.
And it brought a number of like benefits to the people. Like if you remember on one of our episodes, we actually said you would drill down on what AI has done good to the people and what it can do wrong. For today, we'll talk about what AI has done good to the people.
Yes.
Anything straight from your head that we can think of that AI has done so far.
So
That's good to the people.
So AI, right? So basically, I think in order to, we cannot exhaust what AI has done because.
And I think it's actually good to what it has done and see, probably bring the situation home.
Yeah, obviously. So I would say that in order to basically get at this question, we have to look at AI's application in particular industries. So you look at it industry-wise. Okay. So you can look at AI in in finance.
Yeah.
You have your fraud monitoring, your transaction monitoring.
Yeah.
Like you can employ AI. You have basically customer segmentation, marketing. You have all of those things that can be applied in the financial sector.
Okay.
You have like reports. You have monitoring. Basically, you have even profiling, right?
Yeah.
It can do all of those things that humans can't. And obviously, we can thank the increased processing power that our systems currently have. Nvidia is doing very well with that. Intel is doing good as well. So that processing power is enabling us to be able to do all those things. And you have healthcare where they are using AI to basically recognize patterns and help doctors with diagnosis. It's helping with
Actually, I
with
saw
a lot of things.
I saw this other video where a doctor was being assisted
By AI.
by a robot that's running AI.
You see.
Some sort, yeah.
So-
and
so-
just helping in the process.
Exactly. So it's disease detection. It's helping us coming up with vaccines. It's helping us with. So, like I mentioned, these things are very good at recognizing patterns.
Yeah.
So it can recognize patterns. It can, and we have agriculture. It's doing a lot. It's changing a lot, particularly in those fields that do not require ingenuity.
Yeah.
Basically, where there are repeatable processes. That basically you can tell your model that if someone spends this much above their normal spending habits, you can flag this. So they're very good at those things. So you find that in our lives, basically, even in Zim, there are many processes that are repeatable that we can employ AI. Manufacturing, we can employ it in education. We
To
can.
be honest, I hate repeating. That's something that you have to keep on repeating.
That's why AI is there,
Yeah.
because you are creative. AI cannot create something that was never seen before.
Yeah.
Even the image generation ones, your Soras, your Dalis, those ones that are generating images, they cannot generate what has never been seen before.
Yeah.
They're generating these things based on trained data.
Like whatever they have to think.
Whatever
data
they've been fed,
received.
exactly.
Yeah.
That data set. So when that data set is exhausted, they cannot come up with anything that is new. Even the GPTs, they cannot come up with anything that is new. And we know that they have several shortcomings, but at the level that they are, they can impact our industries in a very, very impressive way. Basically, like you said, you hate repeating processes, and they are very, very good at that. They are adept at repeatable processes. So I think what would be left for us is to do the creative things, the ingenious things, basically because we are visionaries as people, as human beings. Exactly. So I would say we can employ AI in doing those things. Like we can use it in healthcare, in the environment. I remember some time ago, someone had a smart bin, right? Sensors. It works with sensors, and it knows when it's about to be filled, and so all of those systems, there are areas where we can apply AI and use it in our favor rather than fight AI or
I think bring the situation home, like
exactly.
one thing that I liked, and I think it's a benefit to the masses, especially of Zimbabwe.
Yes.
When Meta was introduced on our devices, WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook, all those things, and I don't know if this will work. Like what I think, like most of people, like if you check in rural areas, what they can afford is WhatsApp bundle, right?
Yes, that's true. That's
So
true.
using Meta, you cannot Google using WhatsApp bundle. I don't know if it's. I haven't tested it, but I think if it works that way, then
it definitely does work, because if you have a WhatsApp bundle, you can access Meta. You can basically generate images as well, basically Google and ask it to do repeatable tasks for you.
So and even researching.
You can even research. But the thing is, it's limited to the data source.
That's one of the bad things.
Exactly.
And we drew down on it on the next episode.
But from my experience using Meta, right, it's an inferior model to ChatGPT. ChatGPT is way ahead of all the other models that are there, the text, like the LLMs. that are there. It's ahead, and Meta is a bit inferior. So I would see some of the responses, they're not as good
as you expect, right?
exactly as ChatGPT.
But let's take when it's working good.
Oh,
You know,
exactly.
the one thing that was stressing me. I'm actually one of the people who couldn't afford data bundles during my school days.
Yeah.
Like, you need to do researches. You couldn't have. There's no Wi-Fi in the rural areas. The only thing that you could afford was a WhatsApp band. So now with the Meta on WhatsApp, I can Google my stuff.
But
I can do researches.
So the angle that you are coming with, just to divert a bit, is so we're saying that AI is impacting industries for the better, right? Which is a good thing. But it's also affecting education in a way that when we went to school we never saw coming. So basically, AI can do your homework for you. So what's the point of going to school when these things are basically doing?
It's literally this
for you. Because remember, we were given essays to write. You were given an essay, but now you can just type your essay into ChatGPT, and ChatGPT will write you basically an award-winning article.
I think
so. We have to how then lecturers or teachers, how do they deal with that, and that everyone now has access. Everyone has access to these models.
I think you're coming from a perspective of someone who doesn't know why what the reason of even going to school. No. You're just giving an example where someone just goes to school. When you are given a task, just go and take a textbook and quote what is in the textbook. But the whole reason of going to school is for you to learn. As much as we can't take away that people cheat, right?
But is it cheating when you ask a model to do your homework for you? Because basically, it's if I am given homework, right? And I go home and ask a parent, and they help me with the homework. What's the difference between doing
the whole
asking a GPT a model?
The whole objective of giving you homework is that you go and ask your elders, or people who know better than you, right?
In this case, Meta AI
knows better than you.
Exactly.
That means whatever you get from there, you have to understand it and what it means. That's the origin.
Well. So where I'm coming from is I get you.
Yeah.
That you shouldn't copy homework and whatever.
Yeah.
But if you remember when we were doing lectures at school, right?
Yeah.
They would give you a topic, and you had to write an essay about that topic.
Yeah.
So back then, right? You had to Google. You Googled. You'd find a piece of information, you read that information, you'd find that and say, no, this is rubbish, or I can use this, right?
Yeah.
But with these models, when you give them a question, they save you the hassle of having to go through that process of filtering information, having to
still you have to filter. You still have to listen. with what you know about these things, they are not always right.
Yeah, that's true.
They are hallucinating sometimes. They give you false information.
Yeah, hallucination.
One day you copy everything and you fail. That's the day you learn that you need to go through whatever you get from ChatGPT. You need to go through whatever you get from it.
So they put a disclaimer.
So imagine just take ChatGPT one of the elders in the village who didn't manage to get a chance to go to school and go and ask that person. Sometimes they can tell you what the correct things, but there are chances that they will lie to you.
Yeah.
So you need to verify whatever the information you get from it.
Yeah. So that's the thing with these models and school children, but it's quite interesting.
I think that's one of the things that I fell in love with when ChatGPT was launched, and I felt like it was going to close the gap between those who could afford resources.
Well, true. But this is true. And
though it's not all roses. It's not all roses. Things are keeping
so Meta is quite recent. Like the Meta's integration into WhatsApp is quite recent, and I think it happened at a very opportune time where most of the Zimbabweans are using like WhatsApp, and most of them can at least afford the data bundle to to buy WhatsApp, like the weekly WhatsApp bundle.
Yeah.
And then once they do that, they can access Meta. But it's a recent thing, right? It's something that wasn't there before. But I think it's progress. It's a step in the right direction. That now almost everyone has access to these models. But in a way, I think also they're gathering data for training these models as well.
Yeah.
Because think of the billions of people who are entering prompts every day, and I know for certain that data is being collected.
Yeah, that's true.
So recently, I tried to tell Meta to. So I'm in a group, right, in a WhatsApp group.
Yeah.
So I told Meta to basically summarize every message that was ever sent in the group.
Yeah.
And I gave it timelines and a date. And it refused. It said that it can't it can't read messages.
Also, it's just afraid.
It says that it can't read messages, but definitely we know that it's reading messages.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, because when you search, right, it says search with Meta, right?
Yeah.
So basically, they can read these messages because they're stored on your phone. This thing is access.
Yeah, actually, if you want to search for a certain phrase, you can also search with Meta and need to go through the message and pick them.
Exactly.
Then the next thing says, oh, what?
Why is it saying that it can't read the chat? So
I think it's just a way of managing us.
That's another caveat with AI, that there's this data protection, like that privacy concerns that are in there. So, anyways.
Okay. Anyway, to add on that, there's this recent thing that I saw when the USA Force and DAPA, like they were actually they trained they have a jet that is running 4 artificial intelligence models, right?
Serious?
That can actually like engage in jet fights, all those kind of things. And actually they from the static that I saw, they managed to flew the drone for 17 hours. Actually, the artificial intelligence models were actually flying the jet for 17 hours. There was a person inside, just in case it goes, it makes big decisions. But for those 17 hours, it was being driven by AI models. So from that, I started thinking of all the high risk jobs, like all those where you have to have a jet fighter, like doing all those drills when it's a fight in actual war, when using jets.
But you know, when using jets, right? I get that they'd want to use AI, but you know, we have those situations where in the advent of drones, right, we can pilot drones remotely, and also we can pilot them using AI.
But there is a person behind, right? But this thing, they're actually doing it on this themselves. Like, actually, there was this.
So I think what you're saying, right, opens ethical considerations in saying that this AI model is going to be responsible for killing a human being.
Yeah.
And why is it allowed to pull the trigger and actually kill someone? So that's another story.
Those are one of the things that AI can do. We'll talk about it. But it was fascinating for me. Like, actually, the fun thing about it, the AI models managed to defeat. There's something that they call a dogfight or some sort.
Yeah.
So the AI models managed to defeat the human being.
I remember reading about
if you go back in the history of AI, when the Turing test was done, they were trying to see if it was possible to detect either a human being, like to detect the difference between the two. And they managed to be, like, you could determine that this is a computer. But now, that computer is actually, that AI thing, is those AI models are actually defeating human beings.
Yeah, because remember when GPT 4.0 was announced?
Yeah.
The things that you can do, they are simply outrageous. They are out of this world. I remember in recent memory, there hasn't been anyone who's mentioning the Turing test.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure that it's been passed.
Yeah.
That these models have passed it already, and you can't tell the difference. You can have a conversation with these models, and you can't tell the difference. But yeah, so the dogfight. Yeah, I remember reading about that story. It's quite interesting.
Yeah.
but the ethical considerations into what is allowed, exactly, what can go wrong.
There is
what
an episode coming called "What Can Go Wrong."
Yeah, true. I will definitely do that episode.
Yeah. So I think it's actually amazing what AI has done, and we are yet to see a lot of things coming. But bringing AI in Zimbabwe, what problems? Maybe just two problems that you think can be solved.
I'll not be the first person to say this, but Zimbabwe has a lot of problems that cannot be solved by technology.
Yeah.
Most of our problems do not need technology. They are basically structural, infrastructural problems that we have. But taking that aside, we have a growing tech industry. We have basically a tech industry. We have a strong fintech industry. And I think in those industries, AI can be applied. We have the arts industry, right? The media and arts industry. Those people can make use of AI. We have our education sector and the health sector. I know that maybe it's a shortage of resources or something like that, but I think our healthcare sector can really benefit from AI. I know that things are it's quite messed up in that sector, but there are things that they can use AI for, like to help them, to assist them. But going back to the financial sector, I think that sector can probably benefit the most. The finance sector, the tech space, we have a lot of startups that are coming up. We have a lot of banks. We have a lot of fintech products. Those things can really harness and benefit.
And I think if you're a startup, and the one thing that would be stressing is labor.
Exactly.
So if you have maybe you have a AI assistant, a model that will be dealing with your stuff, opening your emails, replying, all those kind of things.
Exactly.
Making sure that you remember every meeting that you should have on a day, and that would be a good thing.
Even the integration of AI into our basically everyday products that we use in Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
So it can start with simple things, but I think those things can greatly enhance like the products on offer. So we were talking about dial-up delivery the other day. So imagine dial-up delivery having a form of AI interfaced into that application.
Yeah.
So it would just improve the user experience and obviously improve data collection and service delivery. So I think, like I mentioned before, the fintech sector, the finance sector, obviously the growing tech space can greatly benefit from AI more than other industries. Obviously infrastructure here and there, but some of those problems, they are quite difficult because of the great financial requirements. Because you imagine you need a robotic arm to assemble something. That thing will cost you $1 million. But that's different from using OpenAI's APIs or Gemini's APIs, in your platform.
I get you.
Exactly.
Then, for me, it's fun. Last episode we were talking about smart traffic light systems.
Yeah, I remember.
So, like when I just actually made this article when it was being talked, like people were just talking on. Actually, there's a company that is actually trying to see how AI can deal with gems, like traffic light, can help traffic lights.
Gems. Gems.
So it's more like.
I thought you were talking about gems.
So it's more like
James.
So they were talking about AI bring dynamic traffic light system of some sort using AI. Like, let me explain what I'm trying to say. So you see, all traffic light systems, they've predetermined time.
Yeah,
like maybe let's say a minute from the other side.
They're pre-programmed.
Yeah, like they have predetermined timelines, but those timelines may not be they are not necessary sometimes. Let's take for example, it's 12 midnight. Like you're coming somewhere, you go at an intersection. There are all other sides, there's not even a single car that is coming. But still you are stopped. What for?
Okay, I'll allow you to continue.
I'll
allow you to continue. I want to interject because, okay. So I'll give you an example of the scenarios that you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's 1 a.m. in the morning and you're traveling. So imagine your car is doing probably 80 kilometers per hour, right? So from a distance, what do you see? You see maybe a green light saying that you should proceed.
Yeah.
But say on the other side, it's a blind spot and someone is also barreling down the road.
Yeah.
How does it handle such a situation?
That's when AI comes now.
Okay. You explain. You stick
AI,
with this. Explain yourself.
We bring a situation where AI is actually able to see, to assess the situation from all the ends. There's no car coming this side. There's no car coming from the other side. There's only single car coming from the other side.
Okay.
So that car should just pass. Yeah, so it's more like the time is no longer fixed now. It's dynamic according to the situation. There are 2 cars from the other side.
Yeah, but
and there's a pile of other cars maybe coming from town. But still, it will give precedence to those 2.
Yeah, but
now that whole situation will cause those bad drivers to just cross the road.
Yeah,
and
true. I
guess.
guess.
At the end, congestion will start.
So I think when I was in uni, a bunch of people tried to do this project because basically everything has to be connected in the city, because a traffic jam by this road, right? By a certain road will affect several other roads. So these things are interfaced. So I think maybe
there have to be some connection between all the traffic lights.
So maybe probably to make things interesting. On our next episode, we'll cover smart traffic systems in detail.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about.
But I think on the next episode we have a guest, and
we'll advise you. We'll advise you on our social media. But I think it's a topic that we can cover from the ground up and basically just educate our viewers on how smart traffic systems work.
Yeah.
And basically in a proper application of AI, rather than, because today we're talking about things in high level.
Yeah.
But a proper application of how these things actually work. So that has been today's episode. Thank you very much for tuning in.
And before we go, please subscribe.
Oh yeah, please subscribe. There's a bell that rings. I don't know. It's somewhere here. Somewhere here.
Yeah. The notification button.
It's noisy.
And
please
before
subscribe.
we go, like AI was launched, like ChatGPT was launched on the 30th of November, and on the 30th of January, 30th of November 2022, on the 30th of January 2023, it had over 100 million users.
Yeah,
I think this channel will do like that.
Thank you guys for watching.
See you on the next episode, guys.